If the Hamza is at the beginning of a word, it is either placed on top of alif or below the alif. When top of the alif, if the Hamza has fatha or dhamma. For example, abun, the Hamza is on top of the alif. Ummun, also on top of the alif. But ibratun, needle. Ibrahim, which we place below the alif. This is a normal Arabic script. Alif has, the Hamza has two positions, on top of the alif or below the alif, only the first Hamza. But in the Mus'haf, Quranic Orthography, Hamza wherever comes, if it has kasra, it will come below the ya. Either below the alif or below the ya or below the waw. So, we say ulaika, the waw will have this circle, alif, Hamza will be written below the ya. And even if Hamza comes with the alif, at the end of the word, it will be written below the alif. So this is the speciality of the Quranic orthography. And also, lu'i, waw, Hamza comes below the waw, because it is at kasra. Yes. So that is one of the speciality, but not in the normal Quran, normal Arabic script. We will write Hamza on top of the alif, only at the beginning, below the alif, only the beginning of a word, not at the middle. Malaika, for example, Malaika will write the Hamza on top of the ya, not below the ya. Now this, I told you about this Madda. This is called Madda. Madda means stretching. Madda yamuddu, to stretch, and maddatun is the sign of stretching. Now in the Quranic Arabic, there is an extra lengthening of the vowels, long vowels. Long vowels are what? Fatha, alif, waw, ya. Kitabun, alif. Fi is ya. And qu anfusakum, qu is waw. And long vowels are equal to two short vowels. So kitabun, ma, for example, mim has got ma, one fatha, ma, it equals to the length of period as two fathas. The same way fi is two kasras, qu, two dhammas. But in the Quranic Arabic, there are certain situations where these fatha, alif, waw and ya receive extra lengthening. And this extra lengthening is shown by this sign. Okay. When do the long vowels receive extra lengthening? Two things. Number one, when they are followed by a Hamza. When they are followed by a Hamza. For example, ma'un. In normal Arabic we say ma'un. But in the Quranic Arabic we say ma'un. Either 4 vowels or 6 vowels. Ma'un. Ja'a. And that is to bring out the Hamza, otherwise the Hamza will get lost. Ma'un. Hamza is a very difficult sound to be pronounced. So it has to be brought out, pronounced clearly, so the vowel is lengthened. Ma'un, ja'a, waw, su'un. Ya, ji'a. So this vowels, the Madda in Quranic orthography signifies extra lengthening. It does not signify Hamza plus Alif. Ja'a, su'un, ji'a. If you hear the Imam saying fa lengthening, what do you expect? Is it fa'izun or fasiqun? Huh? It must be fa'izun because Hamza. It can't be fasiqun. Fasiqun without lengthening, fasiqun, but fa'izun. This is the first thing. Second, when the alif, waw, ya are followed by a sakin letter, dabbatun, there are two B's, two bars. The first has what? Sukun. Dabbatun. Waladhdallin. There are two lams. First lam is sakin, the second lam has kasra. There are certain letters of Arabic whose name ends in sukun. Like this letter, noon. Noon, waw, noon. What is the last letter? Noon. Sakin or mutaharrik? Sakin. So it also has lengthening, noon. In the Quran. Qaf, kaf, ha. Ha does not end in sukun. Ha. Like in kaf, ha, ya, no sukun. Ain, there's sukun. Sad, there's sukun. So extra lengthening, the letter, the alif, waw, ya receive extra lengthening if they are followed by what? Hamza or sakin letter, or sukun. So the sign of lengthening, extra lengthening, is this one. Please don't confuse this with normal Arabic Madda, like Adam. We write Adam like this. But Ma'un, Dabbatun should also have the Madda. Here one more point. If the alif, waw, ya are in one word and the hamza is another word, then you have got a choice, either to lengthen or not to lengthen. For example, ma in, ma alif, in hamza. You got the choice either to lengthen it or not to lengthen it. In Indian Mus'haf, Indian Pakistani, there are two types of Madda. A very heavy Madda like this, is for the one which you have to pronounce, and a light madda like this for the one which is where you have the choice. But in the Middle Eastern Mus'haf, there's only one type of madda, and then the differentiation have to be learned by the reader. I think these are some of the very important points that you must learn. Suffice with this and go back and go to the alamatul waqf, the punctuation marks. The punctuation marks which are called alamatul waqf. One, two, three, four, five. These are the 5 signs that are used in the Medina Mus'haf. Very simple and easy to understand. Meme stands for waqf lazim. Waqf lazim. That's compulsory pause. Lazim. If you don't stop there, don't make a pause, the meaning may change. I'll give an example. The ayah, إِنَّمَا يَسْتَجِيبُ الَّذِينَ يَسْمَعُونَ. Then comes, وَالْمَوْتَى يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ. إِنَّمَا يَسْتَجِيبُ الَّذِينَ يَسْمَعُونَ. Only those who hear respond. إِنَّمَا يَسْتَجِيبُ الَّذِينَ يَسْمَعُونَ. Only those respond who hear. وَالْمَوْتَى يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ. And the dead, Allah will raise them up. If you don't stop here, إِنَّمَا يَسْتَجِيبُ الَّذِينَ يَسْمَعُونَ وَالْمَوْتَى, that means those who hear and the dead respond. So the meaning changes. So there are a few places where you will find meme, which means lazim, you have to make a stop. It is compulsory, mandatory. Jim means waqf jaiz. Jaiz, it's permissible to stop. Either you pause or you don't pause, it doesn't make much difference. This is a short for al-waqfu awla. Al-waqfu awla. Al-waqfu awla. What does it mean? It's better to pause. Awla is better. Al-waqf means pause. Al-waqfu awla. It is better to pause. That means it is not wrong to continue. It's better to pause. The meaning will be clearer if you pause there. The second one means, is a short for al-waslu awla. Al-wasl, continuation. Al-waslu awla, continuation is better. Is to continue is better, but if you don't continue, if you pause, make a pause there, is not going to change the meaning. Al-Waqf al-Jaiz, I have explained to you. And then these three dots written twice, they are called Al-Mu'anaqa. Al-Mu'anaqatu. It literally means embracing. From unuq. What does unuq mean? Neck. Unuq. Anaqa means he held him by the neck. Put his neck into his neck. Mu'anaqa. You will find them in two places, very close to each other. That means if you make a pause at the first sign, don't make a pause at the second sign. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَاب, that's the book. لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, there's no doubt in it. Or you say, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. You don't stop at the first one, you stop at the second one. So, these are the most important things that I wanted to explain to you in the text of the Quran. And the time is up. Inshallah, we'll continue later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, inshallah we'll read the first lesson, Surah Fatihah. First of all, we will listen to a recitation of this surah, inshallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Now in this surah, the basmala, that is the formula Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, is part of the surah. With regard to other surahs, there is difference of opinion whether it is part of the surah or not, but with regard to Surah Al-Fatihah, it is part of the surah. You notice that bism, the alif has been omitted, and the word is ism, which starts which commences with a Hamzatul Wasl. There are some 10 nouns in Arabic which commence with a Hamzatul Wasl. You have learned some of them, ism and ibn, yes. In the same way, ibnatun, feminine of ibn is ibnatun. So the other words, inshallah, you will learn later, but they are not very important. But with verbs, of course, there is a rule. Verbs having 5 letters or 6 letters, their Hamza is Hamzatul Wasl, like in Kasara, in Taqama. The Madi, like in Kasara, in Kisarun, Masdar, in Kasir, Amr, in Sarafa, in Sarifu, in Sarif. So, Istaqbala, Istaqbilu, Istiqbal, Masdar has no, is Hamzatul Wasl, and Istaqbil, Amr, has also Hamzatul Wasl. So, in verbs, it is regular. Arabs call it Qiyasi. Qiyasi means based on a rule. Sama'i is hearing, based on hearing, there's no rule. So there are about 10 nouns, out of which I have mentioned Ibn, Ism, and Ibna. Hamzatul Wasl actually has been imported because the word starts with a sukoon. And in Arabic is not permitted to start with a sukoon. Of course, in English language you have star, for example, speed. So you can start with a sukoon. But in Arabic it's not allowed. So once a word starts with a sukoon, you have to import an alif. This imported alif is called Hamzatul Wasl. It drops the moment there is another letter preceding it, which will support it, you drop the. So you say ismuhu, but you say masmuhu, the meme, the fatha of the meme suffices. So there is no need for the imported alif. Masmuhu, bismihi. So the kasra of ba that supports the beginning. But usually the alif is retained in writing. But in the Quran, especially in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Basmala, it is omitted because of its constant use. It is omitted, but I have given example for Sabbih Bismi Rabbikal Azim, where alif is retained. There's no rule about it in the Quran. Sometimes it is retained, sometimes it is retained, and not retained because it is not pronounced when it is preceded by another word. But when it starts a word, of course, you have to retain it. The word Allah is a proper name, and some people say it is derived from Aliha, to be surprised or something like that. But the considered opinion is that it is a proper name, it is not derived. And the Alif Lam at the beginning it looks like Alif Lam, which is the definite article, but it's not a definite article. It's not a definite article. Of course, it's omitted. The alif is omitted. For example, lillahi, billahi. You don't know how to pronounce. But in one case, the alif is retained. It's Ya Allah. Ya Allah. You don't say Allah. You have to say Ya Allah. The alif is retained. Hamzatul Wasl is retained in this case. But in other cases, it is omitted. When you write Lillah, Allahu, if you want to write Lillahi, for Allah or belonging to Allah, what do? You just omit the alif. It becomes Lillah. But in India and Pakistan, you will find Lillah written like this, with another lam, which is wrong. There are a lot of mistakes in the Indian subcontinent with regard to Arabic, prevalent there, and unfortunately nobody corrects them. And so one of them is this Lillah writing, it's being written with 3 lams, which is wrong. So if you want to write lillah, just remove the alif, it becomes lillah. So Ya Allah, Hamzatul Wasl is pronounced Hamzatul Qata'. If you remember, Hamzatul Wasl or Hamzatul Qata'. Hamzatul Qata' is pronounced always like Anta, Ana wa Anta. But Ibnun, Hadhabni, you say Hadhabni, Aina Bunuka, Masmuka. The alif is omitted. And in the Mus'haf, the Hamzatul Alama, the sign of Hamzatul Wasl is always written. In normal Arabic orthography, it's not written. Only in certain cases to show or to teach. But normally, the sign which is called Sila is omitted. But in the Mus'haf, somebody asked me the meaning of Mus'haf, so I'll explain to you. Al-Qur'an and Mus'haf, we have got two words. Mus'haf is the printed form of the Qur'an, or the written form of the Qur'an. That's why you can speak of, in the Mus'hafun, I've got a Pakistani Mus'haf, I've got a Saudi Mus'haf, I have a German Mus'haf, but we can't say I have got a Pakistani Qur'an, no. In Arabic, we say, in the Mus'hafun Kabirun, or Mus'hafun Saghirun. I've got a large copy, a small copy. In the Mus'hafun Pakistaniyun, Mus'hafun Saudiyun. We won't say Qur'an. We say, Ja'a fil Qur'ani. Ja'a fil Qur'an. Qur'an, it's used in the Qur'an. But when you speak of spelling, you say, it is written like this in the Mus'haf, because it has to do with writing. So there's a difference. The Egyptians don't use the word Qur'an, because Qaf for them is a problem. They can't pronounce Qaf, so they make it Hamza. But in the Qur'an, they don't want to make it Hamza, so they avoid using the word Qur'an. They say Mus'haf always, which sometimes leads to misunderstanding. So it should be Mus'haf for the written, printed form, and Qur'an for the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You see the Hamza, Hamzatul Wasl, always in the Qur'an written with Hamzatul Wasl, the Sila. It's a small Sad. The word, the head of the letter Sad, which is written to indicate that it is to be joined, not to be separated. We have the verb Rahima Yarhamu. Rahima Yarhamu. To pity, to show mercy. Rahmatun, Masdar. There are other Masdars also. Barhamatun is Masdar Mimi. You must have learned Masdar Mimi. Barhamatun. And the word Rahim. Rahimun, Arhamun. Rahimun is the womb in which the child is formed. It's Rahimun. And plural is Arhamun. Rahima Yarhamu. Rahima, which group is this? Sami'a Yasma'u. In my book I use it EA group. EA group, yes. So, Sami'a Yasma'u, EA group, Rahima Yarhamu. Ismul Fa'il is Rahimun. But you know, Rahima is an action which does not have a beginning and an end. It's a continuous process. Rahima is to pity, to show mercy. So in this case, for example, Sami'a, you have a beginning and an end. You hear and then you stop hearing. Akala, you have a beginning and an end. Shariba, you have. But Marida, he fell sick. You can't say in which point of time he fell sick. So you don't have Ismul Fa'il from verbs which do not have a beginning and an end in point of time. You have Rahimun, but that's not very often used. Rahimun, one who shows mercy. But the word Rahimun, you know the word Fa'il, the pattern Fa'il shows an inherent quality that is in the person. Like Karimun, noble. This nobility does not start and end. Sakhiyun, generous. So Rahimun is a ismul mubalagha, sighatul mubalagha, and also Rahman. As you have seen before, the pattern fa'alan signifies a momentary action. Atshan, thirsty. Jaw'an, hungry. Ghadban, angry. All momentary actions. Mostly, not kaslan. Kaslan is a continuous process. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the two aspects of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attribute of mercy. It is inherent in Him, which is Rahim, and the word Rahman signifies the manifestation of His attribute in time and space. In a particular time, in a particular space, the manifestation will be momentary, it will be time bound. But the word Rahim is the inherent quality which doesn't get separated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The next ayah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Hamida Yahmadu, also a group. Hamdun, Hamida Yahmadu. Hamidun, Ismul Fa'il, Ismul Maf'ul, Mahmudun. The Fa'ala, Hammada, means to praise excessively. Hammada. What will be the Ismul Maf'ul from this? Muhammadun. Muhammidun, one who praises excessively, and Muhammadun, one who is praised excessively. So Muhammad is the Ismul Maf'ul from Hammada, second conjugation, second form. But from the first form, Hamidun, Ismul Fa'il, Mahmudun, Ismul Maf'ul. Now with regard to Al, we have learned in the book that it is definite article, but there are different three kinds of Al, which I will explain now. The one that we have already learned is called Alif Lam al-Ahdiyya. Alif Lam al-Ahdiyya. Al-Ahd means reference, previous knowledge, acquaintance. So Alif Lam al-Ahdiyya refers to a thing that is already known to you and known to your listeners or readers. If you are reading a book, when I speak to a man and says, Ja'a ar-rajulu, the man came, that means you know him, and your listener also knows him. Otherwise, if you say Ja'a ar-rajulu, he will get confused. May ask you, whom do you mean? So al-Ahdiyya means the thing is known to you and known to your listeners and readers. Now this knowledge common to you and to your readers and your listeners, the source of this knowledge is three things. One of three things. It's all mentioned in the book, you can see. I'll explain to you. Number one, the thing is right in front of you. So you and your listener know this. Supposing there is a book here, and I tell my listener, Hatil Kitab, give me the book. He knows what you mean because it's right in front of you. There is a man, maybe very close to you or maybe a little far away, but you say, Nadi Rajul, Nadi Rajul. What does that mean? Call the man. Nada, Yunadi, Amr, Nadi. Nadi Rajul. Call the man. Your listener will understand because he is seeing this man. This is called Al-Ahd al-Huduri. Al-Ahd al-Huduri. Al-Huduri means presence. You know him because he is present right in front of you, either the book or the man or whatever it is. So Al-Ahd al-Huduri. This is one source of common knowledge between you and the listener. The second type is Al-Ahd al-Dhikri. The object or the man or the person has been mentioned before, either by you or by the listeners. So, second time you refer to him. For example, you say, Ja'ani Rajulun. Ja'ani Rajulun. A man came to me. Now here, he is unknown to you. Then, second sentence you say, وَالرَّجُلُ كَانَ غَضْبَانَ. The man was angry. Now, كَانَ الرَّجُلُ غَضْبَانَ. He has already been mentioned, so you know him. So it is called Al-Ahd al-Dhikri. Al-Ahd al-Dhikri. That is knowledge gained by mentioning him or his being mentioned before. اشتريت كتابا. I bought a book. والكتاب مفيد جدا. The book is very useful. So you already mentioned. And then second time you say, وَالْكِتَابُ. The third type is based, or the third type, the common knowledge is based on context. On context. So when you tell your friend, I'm going to the office, you know which office he means, because he knows that he works in a particular office. We say, I'll ask the friend. They know which friend he's meant. His previous, from the context, they will be different. Supposing in a grammar class, there's a question in grammar. So one of the students says, Nas'alu al-shaykha, Nas'alu al-shaykha. We'll ask the teacher. That means the grammar teacher, not the Quran teacher. Because the context determines what you mean. But in the Quran class, we say Nas'alu al-shaykha, that means the Quran teacher. So that is called Al-Ahd al-Dhihni. Al-ahdu al-dhihniyu. Dhihni, mental. So all these three types are alif lam al-ahdiyya, referential alif lam. Whether it is based on, the knowledge is based on the presence of the thing, or because it has been mentioned before, or the context determines it. For example, you say, naltaqi fil masjid. Naltaqi fil masjid. We will meet in the mosque. You know which mosque you both meet. So, need not explain. So, naltaqi fil masjidi. Somebody else, when they say naltaqi fil masjid, it's a different mosque, not the same mosque. So, it depends upon the context. So, this is one type.